Hello guys, I'm very excited to speak to you today because I'm going to speak about something that I'm very passionate about, and that is memorable presentations with meaningful animations. My name is Mike Hamborg, I'm a digital designer. So my promise for today is that I will introduce you to a lot of new ideas of how to use animation. And my promise is to introduce you to a lot of new ideas of how to make your presentations more memorable. I want to elevate the level in the organization, if not a lot, just a little bit. So, am I some kind of expert? Am I the next Simon Sinek? Am I the next Steve Jobs? Nope. So you might ask, why do I stand here? What is my qualifications? Well, we can take qualification and put it into this equation, K, P, and T. K stands for knowledge. So I need some kind of knowledge. I need to understand something to tell it to you guys. And I've taken a PowerPoint course on how to actually make templates. I've read courses, I've read books, I watched lectures about how to speak and how to animate. So that's my knowledge. That's why I'm here today. Then I have practice. And practice, I need to use my knowledge and speak about it. And I've used it while I stood in front of a board of directors at a small strength club. I've stood in front of partners at an architect firm where at a young age I had to present. And I've actually been teaching PowerPoint where I worked before. But I have a story with me today. Since I was 12 years old, I always wanted to do graphic work, and I have been doing graphic work since I was 12. But I was going through a rough time during my 20s, which made me change. So I applied to be a social worker, a completely different field. And in the first semester, we had to give a presentation in front of 200 pupils and teachers. And the only thing I cared about was making the presentation fun and engaging. And I didn't care about the subject at all, actually. I kind of hated it. It wasn't for me. After the presentation, 2 people came up to me separately and told me that my presentation was something different, and they really liked my presentation. And that was really life-changing because I understood that the way I presented was more important than what I was speaking about, because I wasn't really speaking about anything. So 2 days later, I dropped out, and I later applied to be a digital designer. So the last point is talent. And to me, talent is not very important. We can scale it like this. The knowledge is more important. And today is also practice. But for all the talent I don't have, I have passion. Because I sincerely love presenting. I really, really love it. And I really like animating because I think it adds a lot to the presentation. So what are we actually going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to talk about why you guys suck. And then I'm going to speak about how we, as the presenter, can avoid that. And then we're going to have some fun with some balls. And in the end, we are actually going to speak about some animations. So why do we suck as the audience? And a disclaimer is that I'm not really pointing fingers at you, because I am, for one, not the best being the audience. I get zoned out. I get distracted. I completely get it. This is my claim that the audience suck at focusing, and because we suck at that, we suck at remembering what is being told. But the thing we are good at as the audience is being distracted. And you might sit like this right now and be and might think that is not me. I really strive to be the best audience that I can. That's fair. But I've taken some situations from my life that you might be able to understand. So me and my girlfriend watching Netflix, and we're watching a movie. 20 minutes into it, I'm on my phone, she's on her phone. It's so easy, one notification, we're distracted, we're zoned out. And I've been in meetings on Teams for 2.5 hours with Indians that is very hard to understand. It gets really easy to get distracted. And if you can't relate to that, I think most of you can relate to the time where we went to public school and we had to sit there for 8 hours a day, and the teachers was just speaking about really nothing. It was really easy to get distracted. So that's completely normal to get distracted as the audience. But why is that? Well, sometimes because slides look like this, and it's really hard to understand what is going on, and it's really ugly. But the real reason why it does happen is because we have one language processor. So that means when we process information, we can only process a certain amount of information at a time. And when we are watching Netflix and the phone is buzzing, that's two things going into our brain, and our brain is still really simple and can't really process it. That is why we get distracted. But we can do a little bit of magic using animation, for example. So we know that the audience suck because they have one language processor. Okay, what can we do about it? Well, we can start with repeating. And the second step is use visual reminders. So when I say repeat, I'm talking about saying the same thing once, twice, and we need to circle around it a third time. Because at any given time, some of you will sit like this and be completely zoned out. In fact, in any given audience, at any given time, there will be around 20% of you zoning out. But if we repeat ourselves and cycle around the subject matter 3 times, we can reduce that to 1%, because the law of probability tells us that you guys missing what I say 3 times is less than 1%. So to repeat, we need to repeat. And the next step is visual reminders. So when people do get distracted, we need to bring them back somehow. Because if we acknowledge that people have one language processor, and we acknowledge that they will get distracted, and they sit in the audience and try to figure out where are we in the presentation, we need some kind of mechanism to bring them back. And that's what visual reminders is. So a classic example is using the agenda throughout the presentation. It's a list that people recognize. It's a visual cue for you guys to be, oh, we're going from one point to the next. Another way is to take a boring word and animate it. So instead of just saying repeat, I can just visually show it as well. It's something completely different. That's a visual reminder. Or we can use video, GIFs, anything like that that breaks up the normal black and white and black PowerPoints. So we need to repeat, and we need to use visual reminders to bring back people. Now, I'm going to need your guys' help, because we're going to have some fun with some balls. A little experiment. But before that, I'm going to say a very controversial statement. A statement that is kind of hard for me to say today, but you guys need fewer items or objects on your slides. That's just a given. I know it's a crazy fact. You've never heard this before, but it is a fact. But instead of just saying it, I want to prove it to you with this experiment. So I need you guys to use your brains a little bit and interact with me. So the experiment goes like this. I will throw up some balls at the screen. Your job is to count them in your head. And when you have counted the balls on the screen, you nod. You don't have to say anything or do anything other than nod when you have counted it. And there will be 3 sets of balls. Are you guys ready? Yes. Yes, okay. First set of balls. That took about 2-3 seconds, something like that. Next set of balls. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, somewhat faster, like 2 seconds now. And the last set of balls. Are you guys ready? Oh, that was almost instant, and all you guys almost did it at the same time. So what's the point? Well, there's 500% difference between the first set of balls and the next set of balls, which means it took you 500% longer to count, and it took you 500% more energy, which means there is 500% bigger chance that you guys will zone out if there is more than 6 items per slide. So I want you guys to remember one thing. I want you to keep it in mind all day for the rest of the day, maybe even tomorrow. And that thing is 6, which is the Swedish word for 6, the magic number, the amount of items we can have on one slide before we start to count them. And that is how we make memorable slides. Because we see things way faster than we read a sentence. Well, some of you guys might be a little bit of a critic and say, well, can I have no more than 6 items then? Yes, you can. But we need to use animation. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, but I understand there are certain times where you need to do it. So we can use animation to guide people through the text. We can say this step, and we can say the next step, and sort of like go through it very dynamically. And it helps guide the audience. Well, I need all my information on one slide, and that's fair. There is exceptions to the rules. I understand that sometimes we need to send out the presentation and we need to write a lot. But in the perfect world, we would have a presentation where we present it and one we send off. But time is money. So we talked about that we have one language processor. And we talked about that we need to repeat and have visual reminders to bring people back when they do zone out. And I've just proven to you that we need to have 6 items or less on our slides. Otherwise, we get distracted. And now for the meaningful animations. So what does animation add to a presentation? For me, it's like buying an Apple product. The packaging of an Apple product is so nice. It really adds to the experience. But it doesn't change how the phone works or makes the phone better or anything. But when you pop that lid, like, oof, you get this oof feeling. And that, to me, is what animation does to a presentation. It adds this little bit of oof. It's not necessarily necessary, but goddamn, it feels nice. So the art is, of course, not to overdo it with redundant animations like this. That adds nothing to the presentation. So that's why I have meaningful animations tips with me today. The first tip is to animate what you say. The next tip is to animate complexity. And the last is to animate 2 values at once. So what do I mean when I say animate what you say? Once again, I'm using the agenda as an example because when I speak about the first subject, I go to the next, I'm actually animating it. And once again, it guides the audience and help them understand what I'm talking about. Then there's examples like this where I elevate the word elevate to amplify what I'm already saying. That is also animating what I'm saying. So I'm taking you behind the scenes now. How do I actually make this? I start with 2 text layers, text boxes, one with elle and one with wait, and I add an arrow. I select the wait part and add the animation called lines. We can find that under animation, and under motion path there's something called lines, and we can animate it in up and down and left and right. And I add that to the wait and the arrow. I can control how far I want it to go. And then we get this. Super simple, but very effective. So that's animating what you say. Then there's animate complexity. So when we have slides with more than 6 objects, it's very complex maybe. We can use animation once again to guide the audience. So let's say we have a sitemap, and this is quite a simple one compared to some of those I've seen in the past. And the client might not know what's a sitemap, and sometimes I don't even know how to read them. So to help them, we can guide them and animate. So I can talk about example 1 and 2. I can go over and explain that example 3, 4, and 5 is here, and 6 is stacked. I can go back up into the middle and then talk about how 7 and 8 goes over to example 9 and 10, and then I could go back out and summarize. So even though there was no particular information here, it was very easy for you guys to follow along, and that's my point. We can animate the complexity on our slides. Or maybe we have slides like this with a lot of graphs or numbers or stuff like that, and when I say 75, you get lost and look for all the 75s, and it's very hard. So once again, we can guide the audience, zoom in, zoom out, zoom into another part and talk about that, and then once again, go out and summarize. So once again, I'm taking you behind the scenes. So I start with the sitemap in the middle, and on the next slide, I zoom in or like make it bigger and place example 1 and 2 in the middle. And I do that with for the following moves. So every move gets its own slide. Then we use my favorite feature called Morph, which is sort of PowerPoint's auto-animate. It tries to interpret what's on slide 1 and how can I animate it on slide 2. So we go to transitions and morph, and we can set a certain duration. We can choose if it should be after a mouse click or after a certain delay. The important part is that we need to place it on the following slide, the next slide, never on the first slide. So for every move, we place it on the next move. So that's animating complexity. The last point is how to get this oof, how to get this oof feeling. And I have an example here of how not to do the anti-dynamic slide. It's fine, we animate, that's a good start, but it's a bit boring. Versus a dynamic slide where it's a lot more smooth. And let's just see that in instant replay again, because I think some of you missed it. So the anti-dynamic slide is quite boring versus the dynamic slide. It's a lot more smooth. So once again, what's going on here? I start with the watches outside the frame, and I move them into the middle, and I slightly rotate them. So I animate the position and the rotation. That's two values, animating two values at once. And to add more to it, I animate the text behind it as well. I just make it smaller and make the line height less. And then again, we use morph, and we get the nice result. And once again, we need to put it on the second part. We get this very nice oof. So that's my tips for today. And that concludes my slides. But I know that some of you might have zoned out during the presentation. I understand that, even though I tried to repeat and cycle around this subject matter. And I know that you guys were trying to get back on track, so I use visuals like this and animations because I know you have one language processor. I even did an interactive experiment where I proved one thing, that is 6. 6, the magic number, the amount of items we need on one slide. And I animated what I said, I animated complex slides, and I animated two values at once, just so you could get this oof feeling. And my promise was that you would be introduced to a lot of new ideas of how to make your presentation more memorable. And I hope you just learned a little bit, because then I can find peace in that you will also be able to make memorable presentations with meaningful animations. Thank you.